and Fulton coming to you live for this Thanksgiving week edition of our midweek devotion. Some of you might be on the road, some of you might be cooking, some of you might just be enjoying some time off. But wherever you are, we're coming to you with a bit of good news, some grace in the middle of your week. This week's devotion is based off of 1 Thessalonians 5:8, which says, "Since we belong to the day, let's stay sober, wearing faithfulness and love as a piece of armor that protects our body and the hope of salvation as a helmet." When I was a little bit younger, I had a health scare. The parish nurse at my church at that time performed a routine check of my blood pressure and found it was higher than it should have been for someone my age. A caring soul in whose basement I live, she acted more like a concerned grandmother and was fairly stern in sending me to the doctor for further evaluation. Even factoring in white coat syndrome, where someone's vitals are elevated because of the stress of being in a doctor's office, my doctor agreed with the parish nurse. My blood pressure was in pre-hypertension and closer to hypertension than not. Not good for someone in their mid-20s. So we got into the factors as to why. Yes, there were hereditary. My father and grandfather both having blood pressures on the high side and heart problems. Yes, I was in a season of stress. It was Lent with all the extra stuff that comes with that, extra services, extra planning, extra. Read all about it. No, I wasn't eating too much salt, though, or drinking too much alcohol. Then he asked me about my exercise regimen. At that time, I probably exercised about 3 to 4 times a week, focusing on high-intensity interval training HIIT classes. The local gym offered the classes at a convenient time, so it was easy for me to just pop in and follow along with what someone else told me to do. Then my doctor told me something that stuck with me. He said, "Those things are good, even better for looking good. But the best type of exercise for your long-term heart health is endurance activities. Sports like running or swimming or biking, they will help keep your heart strong in the long run. Endurance." Never a long-distance runner myself before in my life, I made the switch that day. Exercise became a feat of endurance from then on. I've had trouble with my ankles, so I'm rowing more, but that's still an endurance activity. Paul tells us the Christian life is one of endurance as well, enduring the world with its slings and arrows while we wait with faithfulness, love, and hope for the coming of Christ. Early in his thought of what the armor of God would look like, faith, love, and hope are described as defensive pieces of armor, breastplate and helmet. They're to help us survive, to persist, to help us endure. They're to be defensive, not offensive. We wait and hasten the day of the Lord, not through offensive maneuvers to take back the culture or society or country for God. Yes, this is a criticism of the heresy of Christian nationalism, but enduring all sin, death, and the devil would throw at us and cause us to lose heart. All those offensive maneuvers might be flashy or get press or bombastically show how faithful one is, but they aren't what's best for the heart of faith. Instead, we're to endure. Maybe this is why Hebrews 12, 1-2 tells us, "So then, with endurance, let's also run the race that is laid out in front of us, since we have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us. Let's throw off any baggage, get rid of extra sin that trips us up, and fix our eyes on Jesus, faith's pioneer and perfecter. He endured the cross, ignoring its shame for the sake of the joy that was laid out in front of him, and sat down at the right side of God's throne." Christ, the great physician, is our guide, our path, and our example in this world. As we try to navigate our everyday lives, we should turn to him who walked the road, maybe jogged the road before us. Both his And Paul's prescription is endurance. Endurance using the gifts given to us by Jesus himself: faith, love, and hope. Thanks for joining me for this week's midweek devotion. I hope you heard a word of grace and a time that's anything but graceful. If you like what you heard, please like and share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. You're invited to join us for worship on Sunday morning. We gather at 10:30, but if not, our benediction is the same as always. God be with you till we meet again.